Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating idea from the Quranic text, a hidden framework that sees all of reality as a single cosmic engine, an engine that runs on two powerful and totally opposing circuits. Let's get into it.
So what if everything you see, everything you are, from the grandest cosmic scale right down to your own consciousness, what if it all follows a very precise repeating blueprint? The source material we're exploring today suggests exactly that, a hidden code that defines not just what reality is, but how it actually works.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with the system's basic building blocks. Then we'll look at the two circuits they create. We'll see how these paths, which seem totally separate, are actually twisted together. And finally, we'll figure out where we fit into this whole cosmic machine. Okay, to really get this system, we have to start with the components. The sources we're looking at describe reality as being built from four fundamental elements, and each one has its own distinct purpose and energy. Let's break down what's on the screen here. The whole system organizes these four elements into a simple grid. So you've got above and below vertically, and active versus receptive horizontally. This gives us light, which is active and from above. Think of it as knowledge. Below that, you have fire, representing wrath or pride. Then, in the receptive column, you get water for mercy, and earth, the physical stage for all our tests. These pairs are the absolute foundation for everything else.
And it's not just the elements. The way the system works is also structured by a few key numbers. You've got the number 2, which is all about that core duality we just saw. The number 3 represents the process of testing. And 7, well, that symbolizes completion. Just keep those numbers in the back of your mind because they're definitely going to pop up again.
So how do these basic parts create the engine? Well, from those four elements, two main opposing circuits emerge. But try not to think of it as just good versus evil. It's more like a productive, creative process and, its inevitable byproduct, waste.
This slide really lays out the two paths. On the left, you've got the productive path. It's like a creative chemical reaction. It takes water, which is mercy, and light, which is knowledge, and it creates something new, something elevated. But on the right, you have the waste path. That's the exhaust, the smoke that's produced when fire, pride, burns without the cooling, balancing effect of water.
All right, let's explore that first circuit, the productive one. The sources explain this whole process through the archetypes of three key figures, Adam, Maryam, and ḥawwā. This is what's often called the Rasul loop, or the messenger's loop.
So here's how these archetypes fit into this loop. Adam represents the starting point. He's the raw material of humanity, made from earth. Then you have Maryam, who you might know as Mary. She acts as this sanctifying buffer, a pure vessel that protects the divine word. And then ḥawwā, or Jesus, is the one who completes the circuit. He represents that exact moment the divine spirit is breathed into that purified, prepared form.
And the result of this productive loop, it's nothing less than profound transformation. It's a process that can turn something inert like clay into a living bird, something abstract like the word into living flesh, and something like ignorance into real, true knowledge. It is a cycle of creation and pure elevation.
Now let's look at the other side of this system, the waste cycle. This is the circuit of entropy, of loss, and it's also embodied by three archetypal figures, Pharaoh, Ḥawwā, and Shayṭān.
In this loop, Pharaoh represents pure, unadulterated arrogance, that fire of an ego that screams, "I am your Lord Most High." Ḥawwā, or Eve, symbolizes desire that has no boundaries, tempted by a totally false promise of immortality. And Shayṭān, or Satan, well, he is the spark that starts it all, that initial, frozen refusal to submit to the divine will. So the byproduct of this cycle is described as a kind of spiritual exhaust. It's the residue, the gunk left over when the fire of pride burns without the mercy of water. The sources call this ḥubb al-dunyā, which basically means the love of this material world over and above the divine reality. It's the spiritual slag left over from a really inefficient burn.
So we have these two opposing circuits, right? But here's the twist, and it's a big one. They aren't actually separate. They are interconnected on a single, continuous loop, kind of like a Möbius strip where there's no real inside or outside.
Let's just walk through this unified system together. Step 1. Adam is the entry point. As human beings, we all start with the potential to go down either pathway. Step 2. The productive loop, that Adam-Maryam-ḥawwā loop. It acts as a filter. It can literally take the waste products, our mistakes, our arrogance, and transform them into something productive. And step 3, the waste doesn't just get thrown out.
It gets recycled back into the system, becoming the fuel and the resistance that's needed for the next cycle of tests and growth.
And this is where this entire cosmic framework suddenly becomes very, very personal. If this system is constantly running, then what's our role in it? I mean, where do we actually stand?
Ultimately, how we engage with this system leads to one of two outcomes. If you follow the productive Rasul loop, it leads to inheritance, a share in a purified reality. But if you feed the waste cycle, that leads to a final destination for all that spiritual exhaust.
And the Quranic text really supports this idea of inheritance as the positive outcome. The source material points right to this verse, which frames the earth not as just some temporary thing we have, but as an inheritance for those who align with that productive, righteous pathway.
So what defines that waste product? Well, it's actually a state of being. It's when a person prioritizes the material, fleeting life, that ḥubb al-dunyā, over the ultimate reality. It's a choice of focus, a preference for the reflection instead of the source.
Okay, so this brings us to the most crucial point of all. How do you navigate these pathways? According to the sources, the Quran itself is designed to be the filter. It is the mechanism that allows for that transformation of waste into productive output. It's the guide for aligning with the Rasul loop.
And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question. This framework suggests that every time we engage with reality, we're fueling one circuit or the other. So, when you engage with the system, with all its tests and all its knowledge, which pathway are you empowering?